everybody, this is Rhys Barber from Audiology Associates. Thank you very much for watching our earwax removal video today. On my own again today, unfortunately. I'm back with the lovely Mr. Taylor Green real soon as well, guys. Now this is my patient. We've got both ears to be cleared out in this one. Quite a difficult one to do. And the reason this is a little bit more difficult, we're seeing a lot of this recently, but we're seeing this cerumen here is almost filled with keratin. So we're looking very, very hard, real tough consistency to this cerumen here. We're just trying to get a grip, but it's actually too angular to get a grip. So we're going to use the crocodile forceps in here. We're just going to grab the leading edge of this cerumen here, give it a bit of a pull. And you can see there just how tough that is. The difficulty we have with this particular patient is they've got quite a pronounced bend. Everyone has two bends in the ear canal, first and second bend. So this patient's got quite a pronounced second bend, and the ear canal almost twists and narrows slightly, which means that when you have a piece of cerumen that's formed deeper in the canal, it forms into that particular shape and width of the canal. And then when you're trying to get it through a narrow gap, you've got a very, very hard piece of cerumen that doesn't want to come through that gap. And that's what we've got here. So I'm using the Rosen inserter to try and draw this around the edge. Actually, the second ear canal was a much more difficult one to do, but you're getting a grip here, just trying to drop behind this plug and draw it, almost roll it down the canal towards the entrance of the canal. So we're going into the cartilaginous portion of the ear canal, right at the entrance to the canal now, and now it's got stuck. Because it's that size, it's difficult to get it out sometimes of the actual ear canal entrance. So I'm just dropping over the top here. You can see I'm trying to find an edge to get a grip on with the Jobson horn. There we go. I'm trying to push down so it slides the bottom of that plug out. Out we come. There we go. Tough old stuff, that plug. I think we'd pick it up. Yeah, we do with a bit of suction. There you go. You can actually see the keratin layer underneath there that was hardening this up and anchoring it in place. Very healthy looking eardrum under the circumstances, though. That's looking really good. That's actually a right ear here. So we're into the patient's left ear canal now. Now you can see there's a lot of oil in here. I actually put the oil in, seeing how tough the first plug was. I've actually popped the oil in. The difficulty is if a patient has used oil before they come along, it's got a chance to try and penetrate into the cerumen plug. The difficulty here is when you're adding oil at a later date, it tends to just sit on the surface and almost lubricate the canal wall rather than penetrating into the plug itself. So we're in the cartilaginous portion, heading into that osseous portion of the ear canal. So going from the outermost to the innermost part of the ear canal, guys. I'm lifting this plug up, but we've got the same problem here. We've got quite a pronounced second bend, and it just makes this a real difficult procedure because this plug doesn't want to come down the canal. Now, we have seen this patient before, and our advice to this patient and any patient that has this particular type of issue is to use some olive oil on a regular basis as a preventer. And what that does is you're catching this cerumen much earlier, so it's had chance, it's not hardened up quite as much as it is here, so it gives it a chance to soften. So what we get then is when we're trying to bring this out, you're working with a much softer plug. Now with this type of plug, when it's absolutely solid, or what you go as tough as old boots, it is difficult to penetrate into that at a later date. So we did advise a patient this last time, but you know, people forget, they can't help it. It's one of those things. So it just means that procedure to remove this ends a lot harder to do. So I've got the St. Bart's hook in here, trying to drop over and behind this plug to draw it forwards, but there's not a tremendous amount of room in here. So every time I try and get over the top of this plug or even try and penetrate into it, you can see it becomes almost crumbly. So imagine all these little tiny bits of skin, dead skin, dead epithelial, I was trying to say epithelial, dead epithelial cells that are filled with keratin and flaking off into this oil and dirt mixture that we've already got there, and that's what forms your cerumen, but it makes it crumbly, dry, brittle almost. It becomes a lot more difficult to get that out then in one big plug. Just working away around with the microsuction here, just taking all these little bits, these looser, drier, crumblier bits, if you like, of cerumen away here. There we go. We're just going to drop that Rosen inserter just over the top. I'm trying to get behind that more prominent higher piece, there you go. But as we said, it just becomes so crumbly. You don't get that really good solid consistency you need for some of these tools that you drop in behind to pull through this plug. Using the Jobson horn just to tidy this up. Don't forget, guys, if you do have problems with your ears yourself, you can always check out the link tree in the description. Book yourself an appointment to come and see myself or the lovely Mr. Taylor Green, the other audiologist here as well, and we'll get that sorted. Whether that be hearing or wax issues, you can come along. Guys, if you are enjoying the videos, you can always give us a heart, a like. You can subscribe, you can follow, depending on which social media platform you're watching this on. And guys, if you do come across, if I do throw some medical terms at you and you want a little bit more explanation about those medical terms, please let me know in the comment section, and we'll try and either do a separate video or I'll try and do a little bit more of an explanation on the next couple of videos we do. But this is really coming away nicely here. There we are, just making it smaller and taking little chunks off this all the time just to get this out. I'm dropping, you can see right the way down there. I've got a good grip, but you can tell by just how the St. Bart's hook reacts when it gets on top of this plug, how brittle and hard that plug is. So we're going to go in with the crocodile forceps here. Just take away some of these looser flakes. These will be really, really tough old pieces here. Now, obviously, what you will see at the end of this is you will see quite a lot of redness to the ear canal, because obviously we were in here for a little bit of time trying to work this plug out. So a lot of the blood vessels will come to the surface, especially in that osseous portion where it's a very, very thin skin layer. What you end up with is a very thin epithelial layer, almost sitting directly on top of bone, so on top of your temporal bone, which is obviously part of your skull. So what you've got then is, if you irritate that, you will get the blood vessels coming to the surface. So it does look quite red when we finish. But still trying to maneuver this plug. No matter where I get a grip, it's either breaking a little piece off, or as we try and move it, another chunk will just get sucked into the suction tube there. Not quite ready to come away yet. It's almost there. It's almost there. There we go. You can see there, as soon as you get a grip, just with that brittle nature, with all that keratin in this plug, when you get a grip and start to maneuver it, it just shears that particular piece off. Let's try and lift from the base section now. It's just not enough room, unfortunately. It's almost there. I mean, obviously we're governed by the size of the ear canal, and sometimes we would send this off. The only thing I would say that might work quite well with this type of plug, if we've got someone there, it's really absolutely solid as we are here. It's just not breaking down at all, just because of that consistency. What you can do is you can use a little bit of sodium bicarbonate. Now, a sodium bicarbonate drop is an alkaline drop. It will actually sort of penetrate in a little bit better. It's a far thinner drop, and it will penetrate into this particular type of wax. You'll hear a bit of a fizzing sensation, a bit like if you use a peroxide-based drop, so things like D-Brox in the US, Otex here in the UK. You'll get that kind of fizz happening, and you will start to break it down. It becomes a little bit more sludgy. But the patient was really struggling with their hearing and having a lot of discomfort. Look at the St. Bart's hook here. Look how much pressure I'm having to pull on this hook to get this through the gap. It's really, really wedged in there. But if we did have a problem, we would send the patient away, maybe use some bicarb just for a couple of days. There we go. Out comes that plug. You could really see how big that is now in relation to the ear canal. That was a fair size plug. So we've told the patient, definitely use some olive oil before the next visit. Do that routinely as a maintenance, just to keep this nice and soft. You can see the redness there to the left-hand side. So that anterior portion of the ear canal there. And when we talk about anterior, posterior, when it comes in relation to ear canals, anterior is what is closest to your face, posterior is what's closest to the back of your head. So there we go. You can see just how much you've moved. That's 1.5 inches, 3.5 centimeters of a very keratinous cerumen plug there in both sides. Well, guys, thank you so much for watching our video today. I'm hoping myself and the lovely Mr. Taylor Green will be back together tomorrow to voice one over together. But as always, guys, take care of yourselves, take care of your ears, and take care of one another. And we'll see you again real soon. Bye, everyone.